First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for having us tonight, my sister and I, at for the gala. You know, it kind of started out a couple months ago when Steve called me and he had a connection with Mark Recchi. Rex is a good friend of mine, and we kind of took off from there. You know, you guys have great stuff going out there, and you know, we got talking, and my sister got involved, and we were able to pull this thing off. So we're happy to be here, and hopefully we can get this thing going in the right way. I made a decision one night. It changed like the path of my life for the next long time, 25 years, you know. Took me down a path that was a long, painful trip. I think I just got involved playing hockey on the cranberry bogs we have out here, and they used to flood those, and we skated. And so one thing led to another. I got involved in Pembroke youth hockey, and you know, just went from there, but never really knew, you know, I was going to play hockey. Never knew, you know, I didn't set out at 5 years old saying I was going to be a professional hockey player, you know.
We grew up in pretty much a Norman Rockwell painting. It was a perfect all-American kind of family. Everybody in our family paid him $1 a goal every time he scored, so he was like rich at age 6.
Yeah. That didn't last too long.
We lived on a street with 10 families, 35 kids, you know, playing dodgeball all night, street hockey. It was just a great place to grow up.
From there, I got a scholarship to go to Boston College. My sister Kelly was going to BC, so I wouldn't have been there if I couldn't play hockey. I can tell you. Kelly had all the brains. She went because I didn't have any brains. I just could play hockey. So
sometimes Kev would call me and say, "Hey, don't tell Mom and Dad. I need $500. We had a keg party and we got fined. Can you send me a check?"
Played with a lot of great players, and I was lucky enough after my senior year, I went to the Olympic team in 1988 in Calgary.
We went to the Olympics in Calgary as a family, and that was a lot of fun, waving that American flag.
Great experience, great year, and that was kind of my stepping stone to go into the pros.
When he went to the Penguins, it was heaven on earth. You know, we just had so much fun. We'd make the road trips, we'd travel around. We were there when they won Stanley Cups. And
yeah. It doesn't take, you know, it isn't your top 4 guys, it isn't your top 3 guys. It's everybody, you know. If you don't have your bottom guys playing as well as they can play, you don't win.
Everybody says he was the best teammate anybody could have ever wanted.
You know, with 25 guys and 4 coaches, and if you lose, you're trying to figure out how you win. If you're winning, keeping that thing going. That's what it's all about. You know, those are things you miss, I'll tell you that much. I made a decision one night in New York City, someone, just like it was any other night, it was just like, you know, I was out with the guys after a game, we played the Rangers, and someone handed me something, and now I know it was cocaine. I never did any drugs, you know, I never, you know, it wasn't part of my life, so I never really, I did it that night, and then, you know, it changed like the path of my life for the next long time, 25 years, you know. You know, like I said, I thought I'd just jump on the bus the next day and life was the same that day, but you know, it just changed slowly.
Game 7, an outlet pass over the head of Lemieux of Pittsburgh. Into the near corner, the Islanders in, and Stevens with a booming check in on Pilon. Stevens hurt himself on that play.
Like 2 months later, that's when I had a big facial injury. I hit a guy and I broke some bones in my face, and that's when I kind of got introduced to pain medicine. I had to, right? You're in the hospital for 2 months or whatever, having surgery in the face, and it already opened up kind of like the can of worms with the cocaine like 2 months before now. Like, I didn't know anything about addiction. I knew nothing about, you know, any of that stuff, but you know, I started to think about cocaine more. I started thinking about it. I wasn't doing it all the time, but I was thinking about it, and that's part of, you know, addiction, you know, is that compulsion in your brain that kind of takes you different ways, and you know, it took me down a path.
You know, Kev would be playing and then he would be scratched with flu-like symptoms or something like that, and you know, those kind of things started to happen.
It was slow progression for me, but it took, and it just keeps taking, right? Addiction just keeps taking and taking and taking. It kind of just kept taking, and then
I was guilty of enabling a lot from the beginning. I mean, maybe when I, you know, sent the $500 for the keg party, maybe that was, you know, I shouldn't have done it, but you know, that's what sisters and brothers do.
You know, once you get really stuck in addiction, very hard to get out of it. It's one of those things where, you know, you need help. You need people to help you. You need support. You need love.
I educated myself. I think one of the most important things that, if I can give anybody any advice tonight, would be you need to educate yourself about the disease of addiction. It's a disease. It's not a choice. And once I learned what we were dealing with, then I could be more helpful and supportive without enabling.
It's not even really a drinking, but for me it was pain medication, which, you know, I kind of like. That it would take me always back to that. Even if I drank, you know, if I decided I could drink, it would take me back to pain medication. You know, you get to that point where you got to keep using. It's not like you're not out there like, you know, trying to get high. You're just trying to survive.
12 FBI guys bang his door down, arrest him at 6 in the morning, and his girlfriend calls and says, they took him. I'm like, who took him? And sure enough, it was the FBI. Went to maximum security prison.
And I got arrested, and I think, you know, I had like 6 or 7 days to try to figure out, I was sitting in jail, I was trying to figure out which way to go.
We were very, very nervous about it, but I kept saying, this could be the best thing that ever happened to Kevin.
I think that when I came out of that way, for some reason, I went the right way. Alcoholics Anonymous kind of really saved my life. I met people that could help me, you know, get by the tough times. I think that's the most important thing. You know, I think sobriety and being able to stay sober is being around people that are trying to do the same thing you're doing. You know, it's.
I think the hardest thing for Kevin was to accept the help.
It's pretty much the same thing, right? Like in hockey, you're trying to win games, and over here, you're trying to stay sober, which it's getting a group of guys that you can feel close to and be close to and work hard with, and trying to do the same thing you're trying to do. Like
when Kev got sober, he said, hey, Kel, I want to give back. And I said, well, great, because one of the judge's sentences was that he said, you know, Kev, you have a voice, and I want you to go out and share your story. So once we started doing that, Kevin realized, you know what, you heal when you help. So we thought, well, let's put together a nonprofit organization. And of course, we called it Power Forward because Kevin was the premier power forward in the early 90s. And it's two things, it's a noun and it's a verb. You power forward to recovery.
These guys are strong. And that one day it takes your life, and that's what addiction does. It's very, very.
The biggest part is like the fellowship of togetherness and kind of like staying together and trying to help each other.
So we were really pleased when we heard from Steve Bull from Together We Can. It's a great organization out in Vancouver. And one of Kevin's best friends is Mark Recchi. And sure enough, Mark and Steve played hockey growing up. So we got connected through Mark, and Together We Can, we're on the same page. We have the exact same values.
I think it's just getting out there in front of people and trying to do the best we can of awareness of this disease, and finding people that are doing things that you're trying to do the same way, the right way, you know.
You know, Kevin was tremendous on the ice, but the work that he's done off the ice is so incredible and so powerful. I couldn't be more proud of my brother for that.
First of all, I'd just like to thank you guys for having us tonight. You know, it was, you know, anything we can do to try to help this awareness of this problem of addiction. You know, the only thing we can do, we can tell our story, right? We come together and you know, all of us can tell a different story, but just tell the truth, what happens, you know, and what happens with people that, you know, struggling, how we get to the other side. And I think, you know, the biggest thing that's happened here tonight is that we've come together and everybody's told different stories, and hopefully something we've heard from us can help someone. You know,
right.
If we help one person, it's worth us being here tonight.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you guys at Together We Can, because it's been absolutely phenomenal to work with you guys, and we want to continue the partnership with Power Forward, because together we can power forward, and that's how we look at it. And in closing, I also would like to say how proud I am of my brother Kevin. You've done a great job. I love you, Kev.
I love you too.
Keep up the great work.
All right.